Welcome to another edition of Community Forum. Very excited for this one today. We welcome our guest Mark Lilly, who is director of the Raleigh County Beekeepers Association. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, this is a lot of fun. I love honey, I love bees. I think the conversation is really interesting, and this is a big year for you guys, as always. We have the Honey Festival coming up Saturday, August 16th at New River Park. What is about this Honey Festival that's so special, and what about this year that's going to make it great?
Well, it's just a continuation. So each year we try and add a little something to it. Of course, we'll have live music. The Long Point String Band will be there. We'll have a lot of different vendors for crafts, bee-related products, food. Of course, there's always the tours of the mine. We'll have someone from the school board. They'll be there giving out information to any students or parents that's looking for it. And generally, we'll have a science teacher and a microscope to dissect insects for students that are interested to learn more about the anatomy.
Yeah, wow. That's awesome. Lots of things that you can clearly do when you go. Coming again, that's Saturday, August 16th. Now, bees and honey is obviously a huge part of society and goes into so many layers of it. What about the importance of bees is so big with everything that we do with our society?
Well, I think there's a couple of different ways to look at it. First and foremost, it provides a lot of our food, right? So pollination is at least 1 in 3 bites of the food that we eat, if not more. But then also some of the clothing we wear, right? So cotton is pollinated. But I think another thing that we often overlook is it kind of gives us a look into our environment. So whether it's honeybees or other pollinators or insects, when they struggle, that gives us some information that, hey, we should check into this, something's not right. So it's kind of an indicator of the quality of our environment as well.
Awesome. Now, off the top, you hear Raleigh County Beekeepers Association, and one might think, okay, obviously they work with bees, they work with honey, but to broaden it, what exactly do you guys do on a daily basis?
Well, of course, seasonally, we're working with honeybees, producing honey, processing it, products of the hive, wax, propolis, other things. But then another important part is we like to be involved in education. So we will volunteer at any school or group function that wants to know more about it. We'll have someone come in. We can do a PowerPoint. We can do taste testing, just general education, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Unfortunately, honeybees are just lumped into the category of bees. All right, so there's the fear factor in just the general education of the public, whether it's curious or classroom.
Something I'm very curious in the fear factor that you talked about, because you're right, it is a big thing. You hear bees and you get worried about being stung. How big of a misinformation is that part of it?
Honeybees, right? So we're talking about honeybees now. Honeybees will only sting once, right? And then they die. Mm-hmm. Unlike all the other stinging insects that can sting multiple times. So it has to be either defense, right, of their hive, or you've threatened them or hurt them, you step on them or whatever. But otherwise, honeybees, especially in the summer, so from May through September, as long as there's things in bloom for them to forage on, they're not an issue like yellow jackets invading the picnic.
Okay, big difference there. And we talked a little bit about the time of year. Is there a certain time of year that beekeeping is more active?
Yeah, so the hands-on part, it's year-round as far as education, equipment repair, but hands-on is probably early April and then starts winding down in September, and then pretty much is shut down by the end of October. Mm-hmm. So then in the off-season, we're processing honey, we're making other products, repairing our equipment, education and so forth.
Now you have two different types of honey here, and if you can see close enough, you can tell one's darker, one's a little bit lighter. If you don't mind walking through the different types and why they look different as well.
Sure. So you know what, as consumers, we often fall into that trap that all honey looks the same, tastes the same, and that is the large commercial packers. And they do that, they think it's more marketable. I think it's the exact opposite, that everybody has a flavor profile that they enjoy the most. So on the right, that really light, that's the first honey we get in the spring. That would be silverberry, very, very fruity taste, right? You would think the light would be a weaker taste, totally different when it hits your mouth. Now on the left, the darker, so we'll say that's amber colored, that is sourwood, which is traditional Appalachian honey. All right, so in the Appalachian Mountains, the entire several states that it covers, generally above 1,300 feet in elevation, the sourwood tree blooms. It's the only place in the world where this happens.
Wow.
And it is a sweet, I'll say aromatic, kind of spicy taste. And that's what probably like our grandparents, our great-grandparents, that was traditional mountain honey.
That is fascinating. Do you have a favorite?
No, it's all different, right? Just like if you ask somebody, well, what's your favorite cookie? They'll tell you one, and then they'll follow it up with 3 or 4 others. So there's none of it that I don't like. It's all different. Generally speaking, the darker the color of the honey, the more intense the flavor.
And how does the flavor get so intense?
Well, so when the bees forage, right, they pull nectar out. It's probably in the range of 80%, give or take, of water. So they bring it in, put it in the hive, and they start to dry it down. They fan their wings over it, dries it down till it's about 18% water. So everything's intensified, and then they cap it with wax to preserve it. So depending on the floral source, it affects what the taste is.
That's incredible. That is really cool to hear. Now, the Raleigh County Beekeepers Association, how many people are involved in your organization?
We probably have a membership of around 60 to 80 members. We work with other associations around us, the Fayette County Beekeepers, Mercer County Beekeepers, Greenbrier County. We work together. It's kind of a group effort. We kind of spearhead the Honey Festival, but we'll have a lot of different people. Probably at the Honey Festival, there'll be a tasting booth, and you'll be able to sample 10 to 12 different honey, well, I guess the beekeepers' products. Then you can kind of decide if you want to buy one, which one you like the best.
Wow, that's great. That's perfect for people that want to try it and get involved. How often do you guys have classes and such like that?
Most of our classes we do in the winter.
Okay.
At late evening in the winter, because that's the time when there's not much else going on. So generally, December we announce classes. We teach January, February, sometimes into early March, so that everybody has an opportunity, whether it's a weeknight, a Saturday, or whatever.
When you guys are getting the honey off all the honeybee hives that you have, is it kind of like a skill that you kind of get with how you go about it? Do you have to be gentle? I've always been curious of that, of how you're actually retrieving the honey when you still have everything going on there.
Yeah, so when you get into the hive, the term is called robbing.
Okay.
Okay. So the bees are somewhat defensive. But there are methods that you can use. We generally use a fume board, so it's something that we can spray. It has a very strong cherry smell to it, but the bees don't like it. So we can place that pad on the top of the box, and the bees will leave it and go to the box below it, and we can pull it off without injuring any of the bees and agitating them more. Then we'll take it to an extraction center, we'll remove that top layer of wax, the cap that they put on each of the cells, and then we'll spin it. So kind of think of an industrial centrifuge.
Okay, sorry about that. Interesting. Now, when you're collecting the honey and when somebody's able to, would somebody that doesn't have the experience like you be able to go into a hive like that? Or is that too dangerous?
No, if they're interested, and generally part of our education is if we have people that would want to know more, maybe like, hey, I'd like to see it before I decide if I'm interested. We have all kinds of folks that would invite you out to look in their hives, loan you some protective equipment to wear, or we have some people that are in our group that are there just because they're interested, right? They don't personally have honeybees, but they're interested in what they do and how they can help.
You being the director of the Raleigh County Beekeepers Association, how did you get involved in this type of business? Did you grow up enjoying bees? Were you fascinated? How did this kind of come about for you?
Yeah, so, you know, my intent was never, I'm going to grow up and be a beekeeper, right? My grandfather had bees as far back as I can remember, and actually when he first had them, they would have been in a hollow log, right, in a black gum tree section, and he had removed the honey with a dish pan, an aluminum dish pan, cut the comb out, and then of course it would get jarred and put in there. Changed a lot over the years, but I was always fascinated by just the noise. And of course as a kid you like the honey. You always got a little bit of comb that you could chew on. And then as I got older there was more interest. So it's been a hobby for about 30 years. And in 2017 I had a chance to, instead of retire, switch hats. So I was offered a position with the Appalachian Beekeeping Collective, where I'm the head beekeeper, to get paid for my hobby.
It's incredible. It's like a dream come true.
Exactly.
When you're doing something you love.
Yeah.
That is awesome. In terms of the Raleigh County Beekeepers Association, obviously the Honey Festival is very important. What are there other events that you guys do throughout the year?
Mostly it's just educational based, whether it's in the schools or maybe with other beekeepers. The state fall bee meeting, the conference will be in Lewisburg on September the 12th and 13th. We'll be there doing some educational work as well. So education primarily, and then Honey Festival is kind of the culmination of our efforts all year, where we get to meet people. I'll be inside a screened building with a hive with, just as I'm dressed now, pulling frames of bees out so people can look at it up close without actually worrying about it, and kind of giving them the idea that the honeybee is not as dangerous and aggressive as they think.
And this will be taking place at the Honey Festival. You'll be in a screen.
Exactly. Yep. I'll be in the cage along with a hive of bees. We generally find the queen. Everybody wants to see the queen.
Yeah.
So we'll pull a frame out, find her, and hold it up and let everybody see it.
Now, this might sound as like a dumb question, but I'm very curious. Is the queen much bigger?
She is bigger. Maybe not what everybody envisions as like multiple times bigger. Her abdomen is probably a third bigger than the other insects' abdomens. So yeah, she'll have a dot painted on her. She'll have a blue dot that we'll put on there.
Okay. One,
that tells us how old she is, and two, it makes it easier to find her.
Wow. So you can tell the age of her.
Yeah, so there's an international marking symbol that rotates colors every 5 years. So any queen that was produced 2025 will have a blue dot.
Fascinating. This is great. Well, we are just getting started here with Mark Lilly, Director of Raleigh County Beekeepers Association. We'll be back for more in just a minute. Welcome back. We are here with Mark Lilly, the Director of the Raleigh County Beekeepers Association. A big time of year coming up for them, as the Honey Festival is Saturday, August 16th at New River Park. Now, this is taking place at the New River Park. What's the setup like? What's going to be going on there at the big Honey Festival?
So the main portion of what we do is right in front of the exhibition coal mine main building, the general building. So we'll have our tasting booth set up there. We'll have a sales tent. We'll have a tent set up with an equipment so that people can see what all's involved in beekeeping. Then the various vendors, whether it's food or arts and crafts, will generally have an observation hive set up right next to the cash register inside the office there, so that if folks aren't comfortable even getting close to the screen, they can look at it. And it's a cooler. If it's a hot day, they can go in and just take a chance to look at it.
Awesome. Now, the underground coal mine tours, I know that's going to be a part of it. What exactly is that?
So if anyone has never been in a mine, it's a short, and I can't give you the exact time, but we'll say about a 30 or 40 minute trip that you go into what was an operational coal mine right here under Beckley, and ride on a train transportation car. There'll be a miner there that will give you facts and turn the lights off in the middle of it so you can see how dark it is. Yeah,
that is actually really fascinating. That would be really cool. And again, that will be one of the things going on at the Honey Festival Saturday, August 16th. Now, we're talking a little bit about this honey and the different shades that you can see, which is fascinating because you talked about how the general public thinks that there's just one taste of honey, one shade of honey, and you are completely right about that. You said, though, that these aren't the only shades. It can get darker.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, there's different mindsets. I understand why the big commercial packers do what they do. They want a longer shelf life. Honey doesn't expire. Right, it's good for hundreds of years. It might turn to a solid sugar form, but if you heat it up in warm water, set the jar in a pan of warm water, it goes back to liquid, doesn't affect the taste. So this is what would generally be called raw honey. It hasn't been heated or pasteurized, so that you get all the beneficials, the enzymes that are good for you, other than just a sweet taste. So we have the spring honey, our silverberry, we have traditional, which is sourwood. In between that, one that would be in a similar color, maybe a little lighter than the sourwood, is basswood or Lynn honey. And it often has a little bit of a mint aftertaste. Tulip poplar, which would be more of a reddish amber. Many people say it's like a real smooth, buttery taste. And then the later we get in summer, the darker they go. And there was a popular honey from buckwheat, which isn't grown much anymore, but it was really dark, super smoky. Similar now to what we would probably get with knotweed. Makes a really dark, almost black honey.
Is there a reason why it gets darker as you go into the summer?
No, that's just the varieties of what's blooming. So their nectar produces darker colors. I don't know if there's less water content, but definitely just the visual difference is dramatic.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's great. You can see it in those jars right there to see really how big of a difference there is. And as he said, there's more to that as well. Now, with the Raleigh County Beekeepers Association, how often can somebody that doesn't have experience, like me, that has never messed with honeybees before, how can I get involved if I want to?
So every month, the third Thursday at 6 o'clock, we meet at the Raleigh County Board of Education offices.
Okay.
It's free to come in. Anybody can come in. You'll see what we do. We conduct a really short business meeting, like 7 or 8 minutes. And then we talk about what beekeepers should be doing for the next month to protect their hives, to feed them, to treat them, whatever they need to do, so that we kind of break it down so that it's so much different than any other, if we want to use the term, livestock that we might have or pets that we have. So we try and keep it simple. Every 30 days, this is what you need to do.
Awesome. Do you tend to see a lot of solo beekeepers in this area?
Yeah, there's a lot. I would fathom to guess in your listening and viewing audience, there's probably 300 or 400
Wow.
beekeepers. Some may only have 2 or 3 hives. Some may have 50. My son-in-law and I have over 100. So everybody has their own comfort level with how many they want and their expectations.
When you clearly saying you and your son-in-law have a bunch, what's the space that you need for a hive?
Very small, right?
Okay.
This is the world's most welcome intruder, right? So they can trespass everywhere and everybody says, oh, I saw bees at my place. So typically in an area, we'll say 20 feet by 20 feet, we could put probably a dozen hives.
Wow.
And they're going to go anywhere from 2 to 3 miles in any direction to forage.
That's incredible. When you're done with a hive, what happens?
We just get it ready for winter, right? So now, although we still say it's summer and it's hot, the bee world is looking at it going into fall. So they're starting to prepare the way they store honey and where they store it. The queen starts laying fewer eggs each day. So there's a lot going on in that fall preparation.
Wow, very fascinating. Now, back to the Raleigh County Beekeepers Association, what goals does the organization have for the future?
Well, I mean, we set this up entirely as an educational endeavor, whether it's other beekeepers or whether it's young school children. I've done classes in Head Start through high school. We want to educate the public on the importance of our pollinators, the importance of our environment.
And what is the importance of it?
Well, we have to, obviously we know we need clean water, right? We want to protect in our area the forest. We don't have a lot of agricultural crops being grown, but the forest requires pollination too. You know, anything that has a seed and blooms is going to need pollination to make a viable seed for another plant.
And that's so important to just keeping everything clean?
Yeah, exactly. It's easy enough, and we often hear about it in the news when something's polluted or damaged, what suffers. And our pollinators suffer when plants disappear.
No doubt. That's why honeybees in particular are so important. The Honey Festival, Saturday, August 16th, New River Park. I know you guys do this every year. Is there anything that you change each year, or do you try and bring something different each year?
Absolutely. This year will be a first. There'll be a honey show and a baking contest. The baking contest is open to anyone. 2 divisions, one for beekeepers and one for everybody else.
Wow.
So if you go onto our website, you can see the rules, and it tells you the categories, and basically whatever you make has to have honey as part of the ingredients. But you'd show up between 9 and noon on Friday the 15th, hand it to a judge, they'll judge it, there'll be ribbons that'll be given out on Saturday.
9 and noon on Friday the 15th, so they bake it beforehand.
Yep.
Bring it there, and it has to have honey in it.
Exactly, yeah. And the rules are spelled out there on the website, and we'll have judges that are certified by the American Honey Show that will come in and judge it. But we wanted to make sure that folks that maybe didn't have bees that like to bake had an option to be a part of the Honey Festival.
Yeah, that's a great way to get people involved. And again, we'll show this on the screen, but it's RaleighCountyBeekeepers.com. That's one of the new things that you're having this year. Do you tend to see at this Honey Festival, do you tend to meet people that you met before? Do you tend to notice the same people coming back?
You see a lot of returns that may say, hey, I saw you last year. And then we see a lot of new ones. And you can always tell the new people as they come up to like where I'm at, they kind of get a little closer. And they'll ask you a lot of questions. And we try to answer them as best we can. And quite often, we find out that during the course of the next year, some of those people take up beekeeping as a hobby.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask next, is how many people become so fascinating in this that they do end up starting their own.
Yeah, and I think we have it every year at the Honey Festival. I'll meet somebody, and then in December or January or February when we're doing classes, like, hey, I saw you there. I want to take this class. I think I'm going to have some bees.
Does that kind of make you feel good? It's like an impact that you're setting on other people?
Well, not so much for me personally, but I think that beekeeping, it's both a science, but it's also art, right? So the way you handle the bees. And unfortunately, there's not as many young people as we'd like to see, right? So I'd like to pass that on to some younger folks, younger families. There's some money to be made and a huge educational opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just in the time that I've been talking to you, I've learned so much about it that you don't really think, and it's incredible to see. And as we wrap it up here in just a little bit, the importance again of bees in our life as an existence, because I think that's so important. I think you've stressed that. What is the importance of honeybees?
Yeah, originally, in the 1600s when they came over, it was just for a sweetener. We didn't have processed sugar. Now, that's a great byproduct. We love the honey, but the pollination aspect is the big thing. We've all saw on the news where there's a tremendous amount of bees that died in the last year.
Yeah.
Right? So it's critical to the world's food supply that we protect pollinators.
Absolutely, and that's why you guys do this and learn so much at the Honey Festival. You will be in a screen, you said,
In
right?
a screen, yes, sir.
And the people will be able to find the queen, which I think is fascinating,
Right.
and they'll be able to get as close as they want.
Yeah, I'll actually have the screen, I'll hold the frame right there, 14 inches away. They can see, hear, everything that they want to.
All right, that is happening Saturday, August 16th at the New River Park. Again, this is Mark Lilly, Director of the Raleigh County Beekeepers Association. You can go on the website raleighcountybeekeepers.com where you can learn about all of this, plus the new bake-off that's going to be happening, whether you're a beekeeper or not, 2 different competitions, which is going to be fascinating. And his number is on there as well that you can check out. Again, Saturday, August 16th, New River Park. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you for having me on.
No doubt.